Although I do have to admit this, right? I always find it weird when people introduce a new baby. Because if you think about it, there's such a big contrast between the end product and how it was made. The result of our sweaty night of just raw dogging, #blessed.
I watched the Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary. Now, I'll be honest with you, before I watched it, I was not a fan of theirs. But now I've actually heard their side of the story, I f***ing hate them.
Harry and Meghan are leaving the palace to become financially independent. And you see, this is what happens when you bring the first black woman into the royal family. Yeah, she looked at Harry and she's like, nigga, you need to get a job. You a grown-ass man. You can't still be living in your mama's house, Harry.
How great was Imelda Staunton in The Crown? Wasn't she amazing? Her portrayal of the Queen was so good, Prince Harry called Hereford and asked her for money.
No more following Granny's rules. Don't wear your pants on your head, Harry. Don't bath on the butler, Harry. If I want to play polo in my living room, who's gonna stop me?
Stop that.
If you came up with the picture of an annoying, insufferable white woman, it would be Meghan Markle, even though she's not white.
If I'm going to succeed in America, I need a lifestyle brand of creams and supplements. Gwyneth Paltrow has Goop, Kourtney Kardashian has Poosh, and Jamie Lee Curtis has Poogert. Now I've got mine, Meg Goo, celebrating the sexy earth goddess in all of us.
Damn, Harry and Meghan are losing their titles? That's the most embarrassing royal loss since William's hairline.
You know, I mean, she used to be on Deal or No
infiltrated?
Deal. Look, she was on Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the wife convinces you to leave the royal family. Like, I'm out. I don't need you guys. Which is crazy, because don't you just get free money?
Queen has announced that Harry and Meghan can no longer describe themselves as royal. And I won't lie, if I was Harry and Meghan, I'll be like, fine, then we'll be known as royale.
Hey, it's the husband formerly known as Prince. Any luck getting a job?
Oh, they had me driving for Uber Eats, but there were too many damn rules. Don't touch the food. Don't taste the food. Drive on the road.
I'm sorry, Rowdy Weddy.
What's funny is that no matter what job Prince Harry gets, you realize he's still gonna be Prince Harry, right? Can you imagine being his boss when he screws up? Like, what do you call him in and say? Prince Harry, get in here, your majesty. You blew the Henderson account, my lord. Clean out your desk and may God save the Queen.
What the f*** is going on with Harry?
How dare you?
I'll say whatever I want. You're in my house now.
You want a piece of me?
I will f*** you up, girlie.
The focus is starting to shift off of me.
My name is Megan Sussex now. Call me Meghan Markle one more time, Mindy Kaling.
Now the big question is, if Harry and Meghan come to America, where are they gonna live? Everyone wants to know. I think they'll move to LA because Meghan is an actor, and then she's gonna wanna work again, and then Harry can just join the cast of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Yeah, just be like fighting on TV. I know what you said about me, Diddy. Say it to my face.
When Trevor Noah took the stage and turned his sharp wit toward Meghan Markle, the atmosphere in the room shifted. This wasn't just another late-night bit or a throwaway monologue. It felt like a cultural trial. The audience's laughter wasn't polite or safe. It was sharp, nervous, and almost guilty, like they knew something deeper was being revealed.
All right, I've finished my clippy. Where it says signature, do I put the royal seal?
That's not necessary, Mr. Of Wales. I see here that your previous career was in realty.
Royalty, but it wasn't a career. My wife's got a Netflix empire. Who doesn't?
For years, Meghan had managed to frame her critics as bitter, jealous, or flat-out biased. But Noah wasn't a bitter royalist or an angry tabloid writer. He was an immigrant, a world-famous comedian, and a man whose comedy often lived at the intersection of politics and culture.
Everyone is wondering what they'll do to support themselves without any of that royal cash. Well, good news, Meghan's already got herself a job.
Here comes the first time in her life that Meghan Markle actually touches food. Let's watch that back. Why is she pushing apples into the salad?
That gave him the credibility to say the things others only whispered. And when he did, the laughter that followed wasn't just entertainment, it was recognition. What started as one segment quickly ignited a wildfire of ridicule, with American comics, British satirists, puppet shows, and millions online joining the roast.
And this is sweet. Meghan Markle said she has a finger they can use if they need it.
Meghan wasn't just being mocked. Her carefully built brand was being dismantled joke by joke.
James Corden is a 12-time Emmy winner and the host of The Late Late Show. He's also living proof that a man can move from London to LA and not tell everyone about his frostbitten penis.
Trevor Noah didn't waste time warming up. From his very first punchlines, he reframed Meghan and Harry not as victims of a cold monarchy, but as celebrities fumbling their way through self-made drama. He mocked Harry losing his royal title by imagining the couple rebranding themselves as Royale, reducing a centuries-old institution to a cheap supermarket brand.
I mean this sincerely, Prince Harry and Meghan, America don't give a about you. We don't.
The audience erupted, not just because it was funny, but because it felt true. Noah presented them not as a tragic love story, but as two people who voluntarily left the palace, only to act surprised when they lost its privileges. That framing alone undercut the entire victim narrative Meghan had worked years to push.
We know what that means.
She wants to be famous. She found the guy to make her the most famous in the world, and now she's over there and she's like, if she didn't marry him, she would be on The Bachelor this season. She would be Megan M. from Sherman Oaks barista. She just got lucky.
In less than a minute, Noah exposed the contradiction. You can't step away from the monarchy and still demand the monarchy's respect. The laughter was a verdict, and it was unanimous. This was hypocrisy disguised as independence.
I said Meghan Markle is, of course, a lifelong feminist, which she's demonstrated by marrying a prince and giving up her job. The card he's playing is, I'm a victim. You go, no, you're not a fucking victim.
The boldest move Noah made was addressing race head-on. For Meghan, race had been her strongest shield. Any criticism could be reframed as prejudice, shutting down debate before it even began. But Noah, with his South African background and first-hand experience of racial complexity, flipped that shield on its head. He acknowledged the racial undertones in Meghan's coverage, but then mocked how she also weaponized that narrative whenever it benefited her.
We know what that means.
She wants to be famous. She found the guy to make her the most famous in the world, and now she's over there and she's like, if she didn't marry him, she would be on The Bachelor this season. She would be Megan M. from Sherman Oaks barista. She just got lucky.
This was devastating because it came from someone who couldn't be dismissed as ignorant of racial issues. His lived experience gave him the credibility to say, yes, racism exists, but you can't use it as a one-size-fits-all excuse. For Meghan's PR team, this was the nightmare scenario, a comedian who could undercut her most powerful card without backlash. The laughter that followed wasn't just entertainment, it was a release, as if the audience had finally been given permission to question the narrative.
Meghan Markle.
Then came the humiliation that stuck. Noah painted Harry as a man without purpose, joking about him scrambling for cartoon voiceover gigs or working at a corporate job where his boss would still have to call him Your Majesty while firing him. The image was hilarious, but also brutally demeaning. It stripped Harry of the mystique of being a prince and reframed him as just another man out of his depth.
Trick that people do with pineapple, instead of just cutting it to make the perfect little bite, you follow the wedge. When nature has given you all the cues on how to have a perfect taste of something.
Oh, how fun is that? I love it.
Worse still, it reframed Meghan as the Hollywood operator who'd married her way into a palace and then out of it, leaving Harry as little more than an accessory. For viewers, it was no longer a fairy tale of love conquering all. It was a power imbalance turned into farce. In under 3 minutes, Noah had managed to make the couple look less like rebels and more like desperate celebrities, and once people laughed at that picture, it was impossible to unsee.
I said H was H was accepted. H has been, H is, and H called me with H, and H was out, and with H.
Noah lit the fuse, but within days, every comedian in America seemed to smell blood in the water. Conan O'Brien leaned into surreal humor, imagining Harry and Meghan's wax figures being relocated to increasingly ridiculous places. Saturday Night Live turned Meghan and Harry into running characters, mocking Harry as bumbling and Meghan as manipulative. Joe Rogan roasted Harry on his podcast, turning his irritation into a comedy segment that reached millions more. The momentum was unstoppable.
Listen, I brought Meghan Markle, whatever her name is, to my Deal or No Deal celebrity golf tournament. She was one of my Deal or No Deal girls that were, she was a caddy for all of my celebrities.
Meghan had worked tirelessly to control her public image through carefully staged interviews, Netflix deals, and magazine spreads. But comedians don't follow PR scripts. They tear them up. And once the late-night circuit turned the couple into a joke, the wider culture followed. By the end of the week, Meghan wasn't trending as a humanitarian, an activist, or even a royal. She was trending as a punchline. And in today's media landscape, that's a label that sticks. If American comics roasted Meghan with playful satire, the British comedians went in with knives out.
Hey.
Did you know it's cold in there?
Yeah.
Must be an American thing.
It's not.
Andrew Schultz dismissed the couple in a single brutal line, "We don't care about you." Nikki Glaser mocked Meghan by imagining her as a mid-tier actress, still auditioning for reality shows if she hadn't married Harry. Simon Brodkin mocked their Netflix documentary as little more than a vanity project. The British humor was sharper because it came from cultural insiders who grew up under the monarchy's shadow. They weren't afraid of offending royalists, nor did they tiptoe around Meghan's sensitivities. Their jokes didn't just make fun of her, they undermined the couple's entire narrative as freedom fighters breaking away from tradition. In the UK, Meghan wasn't seen as a victim of circumstance, but as a calculated opportunist. And when British comics framed her that way, it wasn't just funny, it felt like cultural justice to the audience.
That's fine, I'll go it alone, just like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry.
Sir, your millions from Netflix for no one knows what.
Put it with the rest of them.
Babe, time to do our daily $250,000 sponsored Instagram post for Del Taco.
No medium skewered Meghan and Harry harder than Puppetry. When Spitting Image unveiled their caricatures, it was game over. Meghan was depicted as fame-hungry, scheming for attention, while Harry was a clueless man-child unable to function without a butler. These sketches didn't fade after a single broadcast. They circulated online, racking up millions of views and embedding themselves in pop culture. That permanence made them more devastating than a late-night joke that disappears by morning. Puppetry gave comedians the freedom to exaggerate reality in ways that human performers couldn't. Meghan's smoothies turned into revolting health scams. Harry's Uber Eats delivery gig became a recurring gag. Every clip hammered the same point. Their lifestyle of private jets and mansions didn't align with their speeches about struggle. By turning them into puppets, Spitting Image made them caricatures, not just for laughs, but for cultural memory. And once you're a puppet, you're not taken seriously again. Jimmy Carr took the roast into controversial territory. Known for pushing boundaries, Carr delivered a joke about Meghan being a feminist who demonstrated it by marrying a prince and giving up her job. The audience laughed, but also recoiled. It was the first time in the roast timeline that the line between comedy and cruelty felt blurry. Critics accused Carr of recklessness, while supporters defended it as sharp satire. The backlash exploded online, sparking debates on whether comedians had gone too far. Ironically, the outrage only amplified the joke's reach, cementing it as a defining moment in Meghan's comedy takedown. Suddenly, it wasn't just about whether Meghan and Harry were funny, it was about whether mocking them had gone too far. And that debate kept the jokes alive in headlines for weeks. Meghan's PR team might have hoped the moment would fade. Instead, it immortalized the roast as a cultural flashpoint. If professional comedians had been brutal, the internet was merciless. TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube turned Meghan and Harry into a 24/7 meme factory. Clips were slowed down, remixed, and captioned until even small, awkward moments became viral jokes. Meghan correcting Mindy Kaling on her name became a meme template. Her lifestyle tips about pineapples turned into skits mocking her privilege. Fan-made auto-tune music videos remixed her interviews into parody dance tracks. What made this worse for Meghan was that the internet doesn't move on. Unlike late-night monologues, which are forgotten by the next news cycle, memes live forever, constantly resurfacing with every new controversy. Every time Meghan appeared in public, it became raw material for another wave of ridicule. The internet had hijacked her narrative completely. At that point, the roast wasn't just an event, it had become a permanent genre, and Meghan was its unwilling poster child. The reason the roast never died down is because Meghan and Harry's contradictions were endless. They claimed to want privacy, yet signed multi-million-dollar deals to expose their lives on Netflix and in tell-all books. They painted themselves as struggling underdogs while living in California mansions and flying on private jets. Every time Meghan spoke about her hardships, it was undercut by her visible wealth and celebrity. That hypocrisy became the running gag, recycled endlessly by comedians and the public alike. It didn't matter whether people supported or disliked them, everyone could see the contradiction. And in comedy, contradictions are comedy gold. Once the public sees you as a hypocrite, every new move becomes fuel for laughter. Meghan's attempts at seriousness were now doomed to be mocked. The couple didn't just lose control of their story, They became trapped in a loop where the very act of speaking out guaranteed another roast. By the time comedians, puppeteers, and the internet finished, Meghan and Harry were no longer cultural figures. They were running jokes. In America, they became a convenient punchline for late-night hosts. In the UK, they were treated as opportunists, whose every move confirmed the suspicion that their exit was more about fame than freedom. Globally, memes immortalized them as caricatures that couldn't be taken seriously again. The real danger wasn't the jokes themselves, but what they revealed: a deep public skepticism about the couple's narrative. Meghan's attempt to build a brand around struggle and activism had collapsed under the weight of comedy. Harry, once a symbol of rebellion against tradition, was now mocked as a clueless prince out of his depth. Comedy had exposed cracks that PR spin couldn't hide, and once the world laughed at them, it became clear they might never get their story back. Trevor Noah may have been the spark, but what followed was an avalanche. American comedians, British satirists, puppet shows, and millions online all piled on, dismantling Meghan and Harry's public image piece by piece. What made this so devastating wasn't just the quantity of jokes, but the quality. They didn't mock superficial details. They exposed contradictions at the core of the couple's narrative. Meghan and Harry wanted to be both private and public, victims and celebrities, rebels and royals. Comedy doesn't let you play both sides. It magnifies the cracks until they're impossible to ignore. Now, the couple face a question no PR team can spin away. Once the world decides you're funnier as a joke than as serious figures, can you ever climb out of that trap? For Meghan and Harry, the roast wasn't a moment. It became their new identity. And in today's culture, once you're turned into a meme, you don't get to choose when the laughter stops.